This week, we crown our newest HPT champion from the beautiful Ameristar Casino Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. Hundreds of players built a life-changing prize pool worth over $600,000. And now the final few from our table of 9 continue their quest for the championship and over $143,000. This Midwestern entertainment hub was buzzing all week with intense poker action, and now we will find out who our new champion is going to be here at the Ameristar Casino, Kansas City.
This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face, you with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game, talk trash all you want. To me it's all the same, you won't leave with much when you come in second place. I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gon' cry to your mama cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the finale of an amazing final table here on the HPT. I am Fred Bevel. This lovely lady is Maria Ho. We are at the Ameristar Casino in Kansas City, Missouri, and we are excited to see how this final table shakes out.
This has already been an amazing final table filled with a lot of good players and really great play. And now that we're just a few more eliminations away from crowning our newest HPT champion, I'm sure that pressure is just going to go tenfold, which means even more fun for us.
All of the players remaining have earned a great payday for their skill and talents, but at this point of the tournament, Maria, anything less than a championship is bound to be bittersweet.
No doubt, the deeper you make it in a tournament, the more painful it is when you get knocked out. Making any final table, let alone a televised final table, is special, and it's too rare of an opportunity to take for granted, so these players need to play that way. There's no tomorrow at this stage of the tournament. Aggression, timing, and a little bit of gamble will be the recipe for success for our newest champ.
Well, the players are ready. We're ready. I hope you're ready. Let's take a look at the prize pool yet to be awarded, an updated chip count, and then get right to the action.
For our new HPT champion, he'll also get to take home $143,000 and change. Second place, $88,322, and third place still gets to go home with just under $60,000. We are three-handed at this final table, and Stu Yancik is really enjoying leaving a path of destruction in his wake here. He's our chip leader with almost $7.5 million, which represents almost a 2-to-1 chip lead on the second place chip stack, Curtis Edens. Quentin Crossley, who started this final table as our chip leader, is now the short stack with $1.4 million and 24 big blinds. Blinds are at $30,000, $60,000 with a $10K ante. Quentin Crossley looking down at 10-9 of diamonds from the button, and he's going to raise it to $125,000. Stu folds from the small blind, and now Curtis looks down at 10-5 of spades from the big. Looks like he's going to defend here.
Curtis definitely opening his range up since we've gotten short-handed. Here comes the flop. It is deuce 10 ace with a couple of clubs. So both players connect with middle pair here. Quentin's got the best of it with a 9 kicker. And Quentin is going to fire $125,000. And Curtis is going to make the call. Maria, when you're three-handed and you connect middle pair, do you really worry about your kicker too much, or whenever you get a pair, it's pretty much gold when you're short-handed like this?
No, definitely not. When you're three-handed, and especially against an opponent like Quentin, where you know he's opening a wide range, you're not too worried about your kicker when you do have middle pair. But with the turn being the 9 of spades, Curtis has actually turned a backdoor flush draw, but Quentin goes all in with his 2 pair of 10 and 9s.
And Curtis is going to make the call, and he's going to see he needs a spade, or he's going to be out in third place.
Let's see if Curtis can get lucky here and knock Quentin out in third place, bringing this to a heads-up match.
Here comes the river. It's the deuce of diamonds. No help for Curtis. Quentin is going to double up. And Quentin spiking the football and doing the Iggy shuffle in the end zone there. He's happy to be doubling up to almost $3 million in chips. And Maria, that is going to put a dent in Curtis's stack.
And I think Stu was just watching from the sidelines, hoping to get heads up and a guaranteed pay jump. Third place right now is going to take home just under $58,000.
Curtis is under the gun this hand. He is going to fold. And Quentin is going to raise it up from the small blind with ace-4. And it is Stu with ace-9. And he is going to make the easy call. The flop is ace-8, ace. Both players have trip aces.
And they both decide to play it a bit cagey, thinking that it's a little unlikely for their opponent to have the case ace in their hand.
7 of diamonds falls on the turn, giving both players now a redraw to a flush. Stewart has the better diamond with a 9.
So Quentin decides now's the time to bet $200,000, and Stu obviously makes the call. There's not a ton of river cards that he fears.
The queen of diamonds falls on the river, so Stewart has the best hand with a flush, and that just might be an action killer. That diamond on the river might have saved Quentin.
But Stewart decides to bet a bit on the small side, just getting a little bit of value here, and Quentin calls. And they both have flushes, but Stewart does have the bigger flush. And he kind of sees that maybe if he fast played, he could have gotten more chips out of Quentin. But like I said, it's very hard to put your opponent on the case ace in this situation. So you kind of just have to be happy with what the result is.
Well, he's still stacking a little over 1.1 in chips from that pot. We are three-handed, cruising towards our newest HPT champion.
It's time to step aside for a quick commercial break, but before we go, I want to thank everybody here at the Ameristar Casino Hotel, Kansas City. An awesome prize pool, an awesome field, and somebody's going to go home as our new HPT champion and go home with the life-changing cash. Don't go too far. More exciting HPT action is right around the corner.
Thanks for coming back to the HPT. We're at the Ameristar Casino Hotel here in Kansas City, Missouri. Maria, the big money bubble has popped. We are now three-handed, and all three of these competitors are looking forward to a big payday. But it's the championship they want the most. 2 eliminations away from crowning our newest champion. Let's get right back to this final table.
And as you can see, after Curtis doubled up Quentin in that hand, Stu is enjoying a massive chip lead over the both of them. He has about 65% of all the chips in play. Curtis and Quentin looks to be battling it out for second place right now, as they both have about 35 bigs. Stu starts his hand on the button.
Stu is going to look down at pocket sixes. Really good hand when you're three-handed. He's going to raise it to $125,000. Over to Curtis now. Looks down at 7 deuce. Curtis is smartly going to fold the 7 deuce, and Quentin right away is going to go all in with big slick. Call. And Stu's going to make the call. Wow. Good for Stewart. He is going to see he is ahead.
And you know, 35 big blinds respectively is obviously a substantial amount of big blinds to be flipping for. But you know, sometimes when you're at a final table and you're three-handed, you kind of just have to take these spots.
The rail is on their feet as we take a look at the flop. It is Queen 4 Jack Rainbow. So Stu survives the flop. Sixes are still good.
Quentin's picked up a gut shot to Broadway though, so now an ace, king, or a 10 is going to save Quentin from elimination.
It is a king on the turn, so Quentin is going to pull ahead.
And now Stu is looking for one of 2 sixes on the river, otherwise Quentin is going to double up through our chip leader.
The 4 of diamonds falls on the river, and Quentin is going to double up, and it's going to be big. 4.4 million will be Quentin's new chip count. Quentin held the chip lead at this final table for most of the time, and then he lost a lot of momentum and was at one time the short stack, and now he is climbing that ladder once again. Just shows you tournament poker. Anything can happen at any time. Stu this time looks down at ace-10 of clubs, and again he's going to raise it to $125,000. Curtis now looks at a suited ace. Ace-3 of spades, worth the call,
All
and
the cool kids are doing it, so I might as well.
Quentin's going to go ahead and defend his big blind with Queen-6 offsuit.
A little bit of a loose defend, in my opinion, but 3 ways to the flop. Ace 7-8, couple of hearts. So now Stewart and Curtis both have top pair. Stu's got the better kicker.
And Curtis looks like he is going to donk bet here. He's going to lead out against a pre-flop raiser. That is the definition of donk bet.
Yeah, and I think that this lead is a little bit peculiar to Stu. I think he probably thinks Curtis might have second pair or a flush draw possibly, so I don't know if Stu's giving him credit for top pair quite yet.
Stu does make the call, so on to the turn we go. The 5 of spades lands, no harm to either player. Stu still way ahead, and now Curtis is going to slow down here. Let's see if Stu fires a turn bet.
And Stu understands that this board is getting a little bit more coordinated than maybe he would like, but he's still going to go ahead and bet for value and reassess if he were to get check raised somehow.
The bet is $275,000, and he did get check raised. Curtis says all you can eat. He is all in. And Maria, this is not an easy call on Stewart's part.
And no, absolutely not. Curtis really hasn't shown at this final table to get out of line much. A check raise looks really strong here, actually. And, you know, Stewart does have top pair, but like I said, that board is fairly coordinated. And I think, you know, he's asking for a count because I think he's just trying to assess all of the factors at play here and try to make the best decision possible. But I would not by any means say that this is an easy decision.
I mean, Curtis could have ace 5, ace 8. But Stewart is a non-believer. He is going to make the call, and Stewart's going to see he's way ahead. Way ahead. A sign of a professional poker player. He's going to snip those kind of things out. And all he needs to do, Maria, is fade bad luck on the river, and he will eliminate Curtis and get us to heads up against Quentin.
Huge river card coming here. Stu's faded a lot of rivers at this final table. Let's see if he could do it again.
The 2 of hearts falls on the river, and that is going to do it. Curtis will leave us in 3rd place. I thought Curtis played a nice, tight game close to the vest. Got himself a nice payday worth almost $58,000.
One of these 2 players is going to be our next HPT champion at our inaugural event here at Ameristar Casino Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. Find out who it is when we come back.
Welcome back to the HPT, coming to you from the Ameristar Casino Hotel, Kansas City. We're finally to that point, heads up poker. It's always my favorite part in the program. One of these 2 lucky players will go home as our new HPT champion. Let's head back inside the poker room.
We are just about to get heads up play underway here, and Stewart Yancik is our chip leader with a 7.6 million in chips. And Quentin Crossley is the one that he's going to have to beat if he wants to take down this title. Quentin's got just over 5 million.
Blinds are 30 and 60,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. And boy, these chip counts, Maria, they seem far apart, but this level of the tournament, that gap can be closed with just one big swing hand.
Absolutely. I think if I have to give my personal endorsement, I think the edge is going to have to go to Stu here. I think he is a lot more experienced than Quentin, and I do feel like he's played a lot more of a solid game.
Stu is going to make the call for 90,000. Quentin does show a lot of moxie, though. He's aggressive. He's been playing his position. He's made some questionable plays as well, but I think overall he's been doing a good job at keeping everybody at bay. He did have the chip lead at one time at this final table and was also the short stack at one time at this final table. So here he is heads up, a swing pot away from taking that chip lead again. As the flop comes deuce, 5, 8, all clubs. Stu, the only one holding a club.
Stu also has an open-ended straight draw as well. Quentin just has a gut shot straight draw, but he's going to bet 200,000 and Stu's going to make the call. And like you said, that moxie that Quentin has and that aggression factor is definitely going to make him a very tough heads-up opponent to play against.
Quentin has turned the straight with a 3 of spades falling.
And now Stewart has a pair, a bad flush draw, and an open-ended straight draw. And now he's just got to think, if he hits his club, is it good?
Stu is going to make the call for $500,000 here. Pot is slowly building. It's just under $2 million now. 3 of hearts is what falls on the river, and that's going to give Stu trips. Monster heads up hand here, but that board is awfully wet. Let's see if Stu can get away from this.
I feel like if Stu called the turn, I feel like he's going to call the river here.
Well, I don't think those are calling chips, my
No,
friend.
they sure don't look like it.
I gotta pay you off, I call.
He is going to raise it up to over $1 million. Quentin is going to snap call
Straight.
and table the straight.
Shimmy, baby! Woo! Man, I mean, I couldn't re-raise you because the board was paired there, but
You know, Maria, a lot of things people don't
Plus
like
clubs
when
are
they
out
just
there,
lose a
and
big
it's like,
pot
well,
is getting a
is what I got
dissertation
myself
from the
into,
guy
original
who's stacking their
6-4
chips on why he made the call. They're also not a big fan of the words ship it. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. Blinds continue at 30 and 60,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Right now, Quentin has got the momentum here, heads up. Stewart hoping to steal that back from him, as he is going to raise it up to 125,000 with king queen.
And I think that the mark of a true professional is being able to stay calm and cool and collected after these kinds of situations where you lose the chip lead in a pot. Let's see if Stewart can keep that up.
Flop is 8 deuce 7, so Quentin connects with a pair of sevens
Check.
as he defended his blind with 7-9 of hearts. Both players check through. Now it's Stewart who pulls ahead. He's turned a king. And no question about it, Stu's going to make a bet to 200,000. And Quentin quickly makes the call.
And I think Quentin's shown that he likes to make light calls and pay off, so I hope that Stewart's ready to put in a decent-sized river bet for value here. The river is the 6 of clubs.
Quentin has checked over to Stu, so 670 in the pot. I think Quentin pays off 400,000 right here.
And I think last time Stu made a bet on the bigger side, Quentin did call him. And Stu's going to go ahead and bet a similar amount like he did last time. And Quentin quickly calls. And as you can see, when you have an opponent who really doesn't like to fold and likes to make calls, you can get a lot of value from your one pair hand. It's time for our favorite segment on the show, A Poker Life with Doyle Brunson, brought to you by Double Down Casino. Visit www.doubledowncasino.com and receive 1 million virtual chips. Enter promo code HPT, the number 4, Double Down. That's promo code HPT for Double Down. This week, Doyle shares with us the story about the time when he pulled an all-nighter at the poker tables, then had to be woken up by his coach the next morning, dragged out of bed to run a track meet. Let's see how he pulled that one off.
Well, back at Hardin Simmons, where I first learned to play poker, Hardin Simmons is a Baptist institution, and they frown on stuff like that. But I still continued to play. Even they would catch us and everything. One of my favorite stories is after I'd played all night, and I was supposed to go to a track meet the next day. And I played all night, and I went to my room, and about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and called the coach and said, I'm sick, coach, I can't go run today. Well, I just dropped off to sleep, boy, bang, bang, bang on the door, and I went to the door, and it was my coach. He said, Coach, what are you doing? He said, well, come on, Brunson, I'm gonna take you to the doctor. I said, no, I just got a touch of the flu, Coach, I'll be all right, I don't need to go. No, you come on. I'm taking you to the doctor. And I could see kind of a twinkle in his eye. I said, well, he knows, I said, okay, Coach, I stayed up all night. I can't lie to you about it. I played poker all night. He said, I thought you might see it that way. And I brought your stuff with you. He gave me my spikes and my uniform. We got there, and he said, well, you're going to run the half mile I said, Coach, I'm a miler. I don't run the half mile. He said, well, you can run the half mile today. I said, okay. So I went and ran the half mile. I ran my best time of the season. I won the event. I went back and I laid down on the grass, dozed off, seemed like I just got to sleep. Brunson, come on, my time for the mile. I said, Coach, I just got through running the half mile. Well, you're going to run the mile now. Okay, so I went, I ran the mile and I won it again. So now I go back and I'm really laid out at this time. He's shaking me again. Come on, you're going to anchor the mile relay. I said, Coach, I'm worn out. You know, no, come on, we need the points. And so he made me, we didn't win that, by the way, because ACC had the best relay team in the nation. But I did run it. And that's when I learned you didn't fool with my coach.
I could never get tired of hearing Doyle stories. A Poker Life with Doyle Brunson is brought to you by Double Down Casino. Visit www.doubledowncasino.com and receive your exclusive HPT bonus offer of 1 million virtual chips. Enter promo code HPT, the number 4, Double Down. That's promo code HPT 4 Double Down. Could also find Double Down Casino on Facebook, iOS, or Android. More exciting final table action when we come back from Ameristar Casino Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. Both Stewart Yancik and Quentin Crossley have been waiting all final table to get down to this heads up play to see who's going to be our next HPT champion. There's a lot of action right now. And there's been a bit of reversal of fortunes here. Quentin Crossley has overtaken the chip lead. He now has about a 57% chip advantage to Stewart's 43%. In heads up play, the button is also the small blind. Stu's gonna make it 175,000 to go with Queen 8 offsuit. Quentin makes the call from the big with 8-4 of clubs.
The flop is 3-8 deuce with a couple of spades. So Maria, both players connect with the 8. Stewart's got the best of it with a queen kicker. Stu's going to take that pair of 8s with a queen kicker out for a stroll. 225,000 is the bet. Quentin quickly makes the call.
The turn is the jack of clubs, so Stu's hand is still best. And I think it's time to bet bigger. I feel like every time Quentin has called really fast, he's usually not going anywhere. And I think Stu should make his sizings a little bit bigger just because Quentin has really shown that he doesn't like to fold.
Stu bets 325 on the turn here. And Quentin again quickly calls. Six of hearts on the river. Stu has the best hand. And I think Stu knows he has the best hand. Almost 1.5 million in this pot right now.
And Stu's gonna put out a bet of 325,000, and he's gonna quickly get a call from Quentin here.
Boy, Stewart didn't even have the chips fully out to the middle before Quentin was making the call.
And in heads-up poker, when you make the best hand and your opponent makes just a slightly worse hand, you're gonna get a lot of chips really quickly. And because their stack sizes were so close, they're just basically trading the chip lead back and forth. Stewart just has a slight lead right now on Quentin.
Quentin is going to call from the small blind here with 3 deuce, and Stu happily checking his option with 7-4. So a couple of rag hands going at it in an unraised pot, as the flop is 7-10-5. So Stu flops the best here. Quentin is going to bluff at this flop.
And I suspect Stu's just going to make the call here with second pair.
And that is exactly what he does. So on to the turn we go, which is the 4 of clubs. Well, that makes things a little bit interesting here. Stewart now has 2 pair, but Quentin also now has an open-ended straight draw. And Quentin not slowing down a bit. The flop bet was a bluff. The turn bet's a semi-bluff to 250,000.
And I think Stewart's just probably thinking, is it better to call in this spot or raise in this spot in terms of getting the most value from his hand?
I vote raise. And hey, I feel like I know what I'm talking about here because Stewart just raised it, made it 660,000.
And it looks like Quentin, because he did turn some equity with an open-ended straight draw, is gonna call and hope to hit on the river. Oh, but wait, he announces all in. Wow, and he's just gonna go all in here on a semi-bluff. Huge all in considering they both have similar stacks. I think Stu just has him covered just a tiny bit here.
Two pair. I mean, does Stu get away from two pair heads up here?
The turn did bring a few backdoor draws. I think Stu's trying to consider if he might be up against a set or a better two pair.
You have a 6 in your hand? You got a 6 in your hand?
He's asking Quentin if he has an open-ended straight draw right now, which would make his all-in a semi-bluff.
Well, you and I know, and the TV audience knows, that Quentin indeed does have an open-ended straight draw. It's not with the 6.
Oh, wow, and Quentin's talking back. I mean, you know, I'm not sure what is the best thing to do when you're facing a pro in this spot, whether you should stay quiet or not, but he got Stu to fold the best hand. Woo! Oh, my goodness,
Shimmy,
Quentin
baby!
just bluffed Stu off of a huge hand.
Where's my cheering section? Come on now. Did you guys get drunk at the bar earlier or what? What happened back there? Come on now.
We want to thank Red Bull Energy Drink.
Got to give it up for the bluff.
Wow, you know, I don't normally call anybody out, but a little sportsmanship here would probably be appreciated by the opponent.
It's time to step aside for a quick commercial break, but before we go, I want to thank everybody here at the Ameristar Casino Hotel, Kansas City. An awesome prize pool, an awesome field, and somebody's going to go home as our new HPT champion and go home with the life-changing cash. Don't go too far. More exciting HPT action is right around the corner.
Thanks for joining us here on the HPT. We're at the Ameristar Casino and Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri, and so far, these players have been giving us quite the show. Quentin is starting to pull away now, trying to widen this gap. He's got the chip lead currently with $7.5 million to Stewart's $5 million.
Stewart playing a solid game right now. Quentin also playing very, very well.
Blinds are still at 40,000, 80,000 with a 10K ante. And it's got to get into even the toughest of psyches when your opponent shows you a bluff heads up. So now let's just hope that Stu can keep his composure and bounce back from that.
So Stewart is just going to limp in the pot with 7-3 offsuit. Quentin is going to check his option with Queen 8. And the flop is 7 Queen 10. So Quentin connects top pair here with the Queen. He's going to check it over to Stewart, who has connected with the 7. And Stewart is going to bet, makes it 90,000. And not surprised to see Quentin calling here.
The turn is the 9 of spades. Quentin checks again to Stu, and Stu quickly checks behind.
So both players checking through the turn. Onto the river we go, which is the Queen of Clubs. So Quentin has trip queens, and he's still going to check it over. Stewart's not going to pay that off. He checks back, and Quentin's going to table trips, and I think Stu's just happy he didn't fire another bullet on that hand. It would have been dead money. So a little bitty pot going to Quentin this time, just under 400,000. As we continue on at 40 and 80,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. This time Stewart wakes up with a monster, ace-queen. And again, Quentin's just going to limp in. Quentin playing a little cagey here, heads up.
Definitely.
He's doing a little more post-flop aggression than pre-flop aggression. Stewart's going to check his option.
And the flop is Jack, Jack, 8, rainbow. So Stu's flopped trip jacks here, and Quentin decides to bet now with ace high.
Quentin fires 100. Stu easily calls 100.
And Quentin lets Stu see this flop for free with Jack 4 off. And Stu's flopped a monster. And with the turn being the Queen of Diamonds, now Quentin probably feels real good about his hand.
Quentin fires 200,000. as Stu is now going for an Emmy Award as he hems and haws over what to do. He's going to flat the bet, disguising his hand pretty well here.
Let's go to that river card, please.
And the river is the king of spades, and this isn't the best run out for Stu, and I think he's just going to check it over to Quentin and, you know, bluff catch here, but Stu is going to show this hand down, and this is just like I said, you're just trading chips at this point.
I think Stu might be kicking himself a little bit for not betting the river there, since Quentin has shown a propensity to pay off on the river.
But it's just so hard when Quentin's playing so many hands, practically every hand, to know what he has and to know when he has something that he could pay you off with. So Quentin's definitely proving himself to be, you know, a difficult opponent to play against. This episode of HPT is brought to you by Double Down Casino. Get started today with 1 million free virtual chips by visiting www.doubledowncasino.com. Enter promo code HPT, the number 4, Double Down. That's promo code HPT 4, Double Down. You could also find Double Down Casino on Facebook, iOS, or Android stores.
I'm Blair Hinkle. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I play poker for a living. Winning a bracelet was always a big goal once I got into poker, and I think a big part of my success has to do with just the way my parents raised me, and I think I got good genes for poker because I'm very stable emotionally, yet my mom is more of a big positive energy type of person, and I'd say that's one of the biggest keys to success in poker is staying positive, because everybody's going to take a beat. It's just whether you can handle it and move on to the next hand. Well, Black Friday was pretty rough because I actually didn't think it was a big deal, because people had said, you know, oh, well, the sky is falling, online poker's gone forever. I'd heard that before, and this time around it actually happened. It got me to, you know, play more poker because I needed the money. I needed to keep playing, and it helped me improve my game because I really started to grind a little bit more. Everybody was telling me, hey, check your bank account. And I do, and then all of a sudden, bam, my bank account exploded by about seven figures, which is a nice jump to have into your bank account for sure. I mean, this is a huge event for Kansas City. We've been waiting around for a major tour to come through, and it finally happened. And things I probably like the most about HPT, I think you guys have worked hard to make the structure better for the players, and it really allows a lot more skill to be involved in every tournament rather than just being just an all-in fest every single hand. You know, Kansas City needs this, and you've seen from the turnouts that Kansas City's really excited. So I hope if I don't win it, somebody from Kansas City wins it.
Blair seems to have a good head on his shoulders, so no doubt we will see him back at an HPT final table soon. Quentin Crossley starting to inch ever closer to being our next HPT champion. He has almost a 2-1 chip lead against Stu Yancik, but I believe that Stu is not planning on giving up without a fight. He's a Kansas City, Missouri native. This is his hometown. He's in his backyard. I'm sure he wants to take this down. Quentin goes ahead and limps in with Queen 8 offsuit, and Stu checks with 7 deuce. And the flop is 7 tray rainbow, so Stu has paired his 7. But as we can see, whether or not Quentin connects with the board, he's always going to put you to the test.
And that's what makes Quentin such a tough opponent to play. The turn is the 6 of clubs, so no improvement for Quentin. Stewart still has the best with the worst starting hand in poker. Ironic. Quentin once again bets $125,000.
Stu's just going to call here, it looks like.
The river is the 3 of diamonds pairing the board. Both players check. Quentin is going to table his bluff, and Stu is going to table 7 deuce to show the boat. And you can see, or hear, I should say, the enthusiastic group on the rail rooting for Stu here. Blinds continuing on at the 40, 80, 10 level. And it looks like Quentin is going to just limp in again with ace 8. And Stewart's going to raise it up to $225,000 here with king 9, as Quentin quickly calls. little bit of shifting gears happening here. No more limp checking.
And it's really important to remember that in heads-up play, you should always be shifting gears. You need to keep your opponents on their toes. You can't let them get too comfortable or too familiar with the style that you're playing. The flop is King 8-4 Rainbow, so Stu's paired his king for top pair. Quentin has middle pair. And we've seen this situation a lot during heads-up play where Stu just has a slightly better hand than Quentin does. You can't fault Quentin here for calling, obviously.
It does seem like Quentin is calling quickly, though. It doesn't seem like he's putting a lot of thought into what Stu might be having. 3 of hearts falls on the turn here. No improvement to either player's hand.
Yeah, I will say that the speed at which both of these players are playing this heads-up match is definitely a lot faster than, you see nowadays.
So Stu checked over to Quentin. Quentin fired $275,000, and Stu with top pair not going anywhere. He's going to make the call as the pot now swells to just under $1.6 million.
And the river gives Stu trip kings. And once again, Stu checks it over, always hoping to get Quentin to bluff. And so maybe Stu needs to switch up his river play a little bit.
The heads-up battle will continue from the Ameristar Casino in Kansas City as we work our way to our newest champion right after this. Thanks for coming back to the HPT. If you're just joining us, your timing is impeccable. We are now heads up for the championship here at the Ameristar Casino Hotel in Kansas City. A lot of money on the line, a lot of pressure. Let's get right to it.
And when we last checked in, we saw that Quentin was widening that gap, but now it's closed up a bit again. Quentin has $7 million to Stu's $5.5 million. So like I said, it's really anybody's game.
One good swing pot, and this will be even Steven. Blinds are going up. It's now 50 and 100,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. On the button is Stewart, and he is going to limp in with Jack 3. Quentin is going to check his option with suited King 8.
There's not a lot of raising pre-flop coming from Quentin, and I'm not saying that this should have necessarily been the situation, but, they're definitely seeing a lot of flops and playing a lot post right now.
Flop is deuce 3-5. Both players check through it as a jack falls on the turn. Now Stewart has 2 pair of jacks and 3s, and Quentin has turned a flush draw. Quentin bets 100,000. I'd like to see Stewart raise here.
And he is going to make it 275,000. And now, we've seen Quentin go all in with draws before, but maybe this time he's just going to play it a little more conservatively and just call.
I don't think Stewart's ever going to fold 2 pair to Quentin ever again for as long as they live.
It would be really, really tough to, especially if you have to handle listening to that display after.
175,000 is called by Quentin to complete the raise as the 7 of clubs falls on the river. So just like that, Quentin is going to pull ahead with a flush.
And now there's got to be alarm bells going off in Stu's head. Quentin is leading into him, and Stu knows that that is the one river card he did not want to see. A backdoor flush draw is definitely the kind of hand that Quentin bets and calls Stewart's raise with on the turn. But Stewart can't lay down 2 pair for the second time, and he's going to see that Quentin did get there on the river.
And you can start to see the frustration in Stu's face as he looks over to his rail. Quentin running good right now as his chip lead widens.
The blinds are getting bigger, and these pots become more and more meaningful.
This hand, Quentin wakes up with pocket 8s, and again he's just going to limp in. Stewart will oblige by checking the 7-4 of hearts in his option.
I don't really advocate limping in with a hand like pocket 8s heads up, but whatever works right now. You guys are the ones at the tables getting a feel for your opponent.
Well, the flop was 7 deuce 5, giving Stu top pair. This could end up being the perfect storm for Quentin as Stu raises it to 350,000. Quentin's going to go all in.
And I think Stu's just going to put Quentin on a draw here, and he calls, and he's going to see that Quentin has an overpair with the 8s. Stewart's looking for another 7 or a 4 or running hearts in order to double up through Quentin. Otherwise, Quentin Crossley, who started this final table as the chip leader, is going to emerge victorious.
Stu hoping for a heart on the turn to get some more outs. It's not a heart, but it's the 6 of diamonds. That's going to give Stu an open-ended straight draw.
You can't two pair, baby. 9, baby.
He can't hit the 4 for 2 pair, because if he does, Quentin will have a higher straight. So now Stu's looking for an 8 or a 7 on the river. Otherwise, he's going to be our second place finisher.
Okay, the 8s are in the lead still. Let's go ahead and see.
No 7.
Here comes the river for the championship. The king of diamonds is what it is, and just like that, we have a champion. His name is Quentin Crossley, and you got to tip your hat to that young man right there. Definitely a face to keep an eye on in the poker world.
Stu Yancik going to take home just over $88,000 for his second place finish in his hometown, Kansas City, Missouri. Great finish by him.
Oh, it must be so bittersweet for Stu to get that close to the championship, but fall short to second place. Congratulations on your great run, though, buddy. He's standing by with James Larson.
Thanks so much, guys. I am now joined with our second place finisher here at this HPT nationally televised final table. I'm here with Stewart. Stewart, what a day it was today, up, down, and that heads-up match. It was a grind. Unfortunately, you're going out in second place. How do you feel you played?
I feel like I played pretty well for the most part. He bluffed me a couple of times heads up, which worked in his favor, and besides that, I didn't have anything go my way actually at all.
Talk about Q with some of his antics at the table when he'd win a hand. He was very vocal, very loud. Loved to use the word "ship it." Did that get into your head at all?
No, I don't mind that. You can celebrate all you want when you win. It's just about having class when you win. That's what it's about.
Well, you have a lot of class and you're going home with a lot of cash, so congratulations to you. I want to say thanks for playing. Never easy being second place here on the HPT, but a nice payday for our friend Stewart. Maria and Fred, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, James Larson, and congratulations again to Stu. For my dollar, probably the best player at the table today, but no limit Texas Hold'em, anything can happen. Our newest champion is named Quentin Crossley, and he's standing by with a pile of cash to talk about how he feels. Take it away, James.
Thanks so much, guys. I'm now joined with our new HPT champion. How about a big round of applause for Quentin Crossley, everybody? All right, Quentin, it was a long weekend for you.
Sure.
You came to the final table as the chip leader, but it slipped away for you a little bit. Talk about that first.
Kind of a roller coaster. I got frustrated there for a little while and tried to steal a few pots. It didn't quite go my way, and then had to kind of lock it up, and then panned out for the best.
You got very excited after you'd win a big hand and you ship it and all that. And you got your rail involved. Talk about the emotion.
Yeah, in response to Stewart, I don't look at it as being less classy. It's more raw emotion. I mean, we're playing for a lot of money, and that's just part of the game.
It's $143,000. How does that feel to take that payday home?
Yeah, feels pretty good actually.
Come on, where's that raw emotion? Yeah, ship it. He's our new champion, everybody. We call him Q around here. He's just over $143,000 richer. So congratulations to Q. He's going home with the cash and the title. We'll send it back to you guys, Freddie and Maria.
Thank you, gentlemen, and congratulations again to all of our players who made this final table at our inaugural event here at the Kansas City Ameristar Casino Hotel. Maria Ho, this was a fun one to watch. Give me your dissertation on the play.
I was very impressed with all of the players at the final table. I think every single one held their own. But when it got to heads up, obviously Stewart Yancik has a lot of experience at these kinds of final tables, and I think that he probably played a better game than Quentin. But I gotta say, Quentin Crossley pulled off a really nice bluff at a very pivotal moment, and sometimes that's all it takes to make the difference between being the champion and the runner-up.
Well, the good news is I'm pretty sure we'll see both of these gentlemen again, maybe even at another final table. I'm sure Stu will be looking for revenge. Now, do you think you have what it takes to sit under the bright lights and TV cameras of the worldwide stage the HPT offers? Well, then log on to hptpoker.com and find an event near you. For Maria Ho and James Larson, I'm Fred Bevel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the HPT.
Now better bring your best game. Talk trash all you want. To me, it's all the same. You won't leave with much when you come in second place. wait you out, but I'll take you down. And I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gonna cry to your mama, cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.